In this example, I'm going to show you how to, like if there's something you want to read, like a sign or a piece of paper or a note, that's really easy to do. It's because it's very much like examine. Really, you could almost use the examine function um, to do that. But let's go look at that. So let's pop over to Lantern. And what I'm going to do here is I've got a table in my um, conference room. Let me make that a supporter. Oh, it is, so I can put things on it. And then let me add another object here. I'm going to call it manual. And I'm going to set its location to be the table. And this is I don't know, engineering manual or something like, whatever. What it's going to do is maybe tell you how to configure something in your game. Maybe there's a clue here on how to solve a puzzle. And let's make the manual portable. Although, maybe there's another puzzle though, like an NPC stops us if we're carrying the manual when we leave. Like we're not allowed to leave with the manual. That would be kind of a cool puzzle. So let's just test this out. And you can see that on the table, we're in the conference room, and there's a table, and on the table is a manual. Cool. But if I type read manual, I don't follow you. All right. So let's go get that working. Reading is very, very, well, it can be simple. It can be simple. Usually it is. If it's a big, heavy book like an encyclopedia, then maybe you want to make it more complicated. Like you have like a book that you have to consult the book about something or read about something. Then you might want to have like a menu system, like a computer terminal, which we'll talk about later. But let's just do the easy thing here. So let me go to functions, and I'm going to add a function called read manual, and click add, and then let's insert. There's probably a snippet for read something. Yes. And what does the player read? How about the manual? Okay. And would you like to add the following sentence? Read manual. Yes. Okay. So what we've done here is the insurance manual says blah, 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 blah. So maybe this is different. Maybe from examining the manual is different from reading the manual. I mean, it's kind of up to you. And this can be as long as you want. So let's say save that. Now let's go back to our sentences, and you can see it created a sentence for us. Read manual. If we type read manual, we'll be able to read the manual. So let's read manual. The insurance forms say blah 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 blah. Okay. So that actually worked. Let's clean up just a little bit. Okay. Now, the thing is, if I've added this verb read, now I could go around reading anything, right? So how do I want to handle that? Let's add a function called read anything. And what I'm going to do here is print. I typed, to do that, I hit PR tab tab, PR tab tab. That expands to print line. There's nothing written on that. Okay. So I've made a function called read anything, and there's nothing written on that. Now let's go to our sentences. And we have a function here for reading the manual. I can say if I try to read, now how do I say anything? Anything is the star. If I try to read anything, call read anything function. So the way Lantern works is it will try to find, and click add. Now, Lantern will search for and try to find an exact match. It will try to find a read manual. If I type read the manual, it's going to try to find a read manual sentence, something that matches that. If it can't, it'll look for that wildcard thing. The star means anything. It's called a wildcard. It means match anything. Read anything else, then it's going to call the read anything function. So If it can find an exact match, it'll call it. If it can find a wildcard match, it'll do that too. So if I try to read any object, then it's going to call the default case there. So read the table. There's nothing written on that. Cool. That's a lot better. Read the manual. The insurance forms say blah 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 blah. Right now, so that's better. Now I should probably have something here in the read manual. The the manual describes how to use the ion drive, or something like that. That seems to make more sense in our context. Take the manual. Okay. Now, if I examine the manual, it says, oh, it should say this is an engineering manual. Okay, so let's go back to our manual. This is it's an engineering manual or something. Okay, there we go. So describing something and looking at it are not the same thing. However, you could make them the same thing. So if I examine the manual, okay, so read the manual. All right, so those are different things. If you just wanted to print out the room description and make them synonyms, you could just use the, instead of doing this, I'll put 2 slashes in front to comment it out. You could just say describe. There's a built-in function called describe the manual. And what that will do is it will print out the manual's description. Test. This is an engineering manual. So that's not great, right? That's not really what we want there. But if you want to print out something's description, you can use the describe function. So there you go. There's how to read things. And then the other important thing there is that idea of the wildcard, the pattern matching, right? You can, if like in our example that we had before with the shooting, right? We had the robot we have to shoot. So we've got like kill the robot, shoot the robot. What if we try to shoot? Let's like make don't we have a default kill function in here? Let's look at functions. We have default kill, like violence is not the answer or something like that, or that would be pointless. We could also say now on our sentences, because we added shoot as a verb, if I try to shoot any object, call our default kill function instead, right? So shoot the manual. Violence is not the answer, right? So that is very useful, that idea of if you have a specific case that you try to handle, but then you have a kind of a generic backstop case that catches any situations that fell through the cracks. So that's a very kind of cool thing to be able to do. All right, well, there it is. There's how to read stuff. Pretty easy.